everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the Channel. Great day. Today in this video, we're going to answer the 5 most important things you need to know to drive a performance car like these fast on the racetrack. Now, if you're not familiar with this channel, my name's Austin. Welcome to the Speed Phenom YouTube channel. And here we love racing and going to the racetrack, chasing lap times. It's a ton of fun. And from our last visit out to Laguna Seca, where we clocked a 132 with our 600 LT, I got asked so many times, how did we do it? What do you need to know? Here we have the amazing 2022 Chevrolet Corvette C8R edition with the McLaren 600 LT on top of this amazing mountain road. It's good old Palomar, so if you're wondering, don't drop a comment down below, I'm saying it right now. Palomar Mountain, and this is just so scenic. Walking this way, you can actually see the reflection from the sun going over the ocean. This view is epic, and having both cars up here is perfect to go alongside it. But let's get to the point of today's video. The first thing you need to know when it comes to driving a car fast on the racetrack, and this one is so simple, but so many people often overlook it, and it has to do with know what you are driving. Now, let's say that you own a Mazda Miata and you track that car all the time, and then you just bought a Dodge Challenger Hellcat and you want to go fast. Well, that's gonna drive completely differently than the Miata. Same goes for a GT350, and then you've owned that car and now you traded that in for a 992 GT3 or a GT3 RS. You've got to understand where the engine layout is, because a front engine vehicle will drive completely differently than a rear engine car, and you can get into a lot of trouble real fast. That is why I personally love mid-engine vehicles like the new C8 Corvette and the McLaren back there, because you got to understand why Chevrolet did it. You've got a more central mass right behind you in between the front axle and the rear. Have you seen those videos online of C7s getting a bit tail happy or having a bit too much oversteer? Well, you could say that depending on the versions, like the Z06 and ZR1, you can get a lot of horsepower out of them, a lot of torque, but since the engine is essentially up front, the chassis has a harder time putting down the power. Now, if you had that same exact engine power plant and you put it inside of a mid-engine car, well, instantly in the middle of a corner and transitioning out of it, you have all that central mass right above the rear wheels. What do you think makes a C8 Corvette launch so hard out of the dig? Well, of course, right away the DCT, but like I was saying earlier, having the increased weight right behind you will make a huge difference. Same can be said for the GT3s and GT2 RSs, because it's even further out back. Front engine vehicles have incredible instant turning because the weight is already resting above the front wheels where you turn the vehicle. Since the C8 Corvette is mid-engine and the engine is right here in front of the back tires, you're sitting closer to the front end of the vehicle. This gives the car a much lower polar movement because the engine is more central in the middle of the car, and it makes you feel like you're turning before the rest of the vehicle, whereas with a C7 Corvette, you would have half the car way over here on the right side, and you're turning after the front end, which will drastically change the feel on the racetrack. The best way I can put it is that the C8 Corvette feels like it turns around you, whereas front engine vehicles like my old GT500 track pack, you feel like you're turning after the front end of the vehicle. In a rear engine vehicle, make sure you're very careful on your throttle inputs, because you need to make sure that the front end has got the grip and the rear stays planted. The number 2 most important thing you need to know on the racetrack, and it's that grip will follow your input, or phrased differently, weight is grip. Now, picture a tire as a balloon, and you've got that balloon blown up and you're pushing it down on the ground. What's going to happen? Instead of being completely round, the shape is going to flatten out and more of the balloon will actually be touching the floor. Now that you have the balloon blown up and you're pushing it down on the ground, try moving it around with the force still being pressed down. You're gonna feel that resistance. That is essentially what a tire is doing when it's touching the ground and it has weight over it. That is grip. Now, if you let go of the balloon, it's going to expand back up and less of the balloon will be touching the ground. Therefore, if you move it around, it's super light. That is essentially what is happening at all four corners of your vehicle when you are driving fast. So when you hop inside of a mid-engine vehicle, you need to realize that to turn as hard as a front-engine car, you're going to have to make sure that you have enough weight pushing down on the front tires to give you grip, because the front is essentially empty versus like a Dodge Viper or a Ford Mustang. There's much more weight always sitting up there. Therefore, the grip is much easier to maintain on the front axle. Anyways, when you go full throttle, you'll feel the weight shift back. That means your back tires have the max grip and your front tires are lightening up. Therefore, the faster and faster you go doing that, going full throttle, you won't be able to turn as sharply. But then when you brake it and start brushing the brake pedal, you'll feel how the weight shift isn't all the way pushing back. It's actually going to be leveling out and going forwards. Therefore, you've got front end grip to turn hard. So if you want to take a supercar hard to the canyons or on the racetrack, you need to make sure that when you're getting into a tight corner, you need to trail brake in to give you the front grip, then get on power after you've got the car turned in for a corner. Now let's imagine that you're taking a left-hand corner super hard. You're turning the car left, the weight is going to shift to the right. When the weight shifts to the right in a corner, that's where your grip is. When the weight shifts to the left in a corner, that's where your grip is. So analyze how weight equals grip. Now the next point I want to get to, the third most important thing you need to know, follow our last point when it comes to weight is grip. You need to make sure that you're careful with your throttle inputs. Now let's imagine that you're hard in a corner. And like I said, let's say you're turning left. Well, the right side of your car has the grip. And then let's say you put on full throttle. Well, the weight is going to follow wherever the input is coming from. So if it's gas and you're accelerating, the weight will shift back. The car might lose control because that sudden motion of perfectly distributed weight on one side of the car. Now max throttle this way, the car is going to lose control. Same can be said if you're in a corner, max G's, and you slam the brakes on, that tail is going to whip around because it wants to follow the motion of the vehicle. And that, my friends, is why smooth is fast. And here we go, most important thing at number 4. Most important thing number 4 you need to know is that tires make and break everything. Now, if your car has normal street tires, the grip level that you're missing out on versus our compounds is so significant. It's not just lap times, for example, being 3 seconds faster. The stability of a vehicle will shoot right up because it's not going to want to kick out as easily. Put it this way, a good set of track tires is like a normal set of tires with glue poured all over them. They are so sticky that the grip difference is night and day, and you'll feel much more confidence inspired driving your car with our compounds. You'll be able to get to the limit faster. You'll put down the power better. You'll slow down faster because there's just more grip to be used when it comes to the braking system. Now, there's a big drawback with our compound tires. They take a while to get hot. I've seen so many videos where guys go out on track and on their first lap, they go for it, hammer down, and they completely lose control because the back tires are like ice and they go off the track and hit a wall. You need to realize that these extra sticky tires only truly function when they're warm or hot. So you need to use 1 or 2, I use 3 laps, honestly, to get them up to temp to make sure that the vehicle is predictable and it's not going to slide out from under you like you have rolling pieces of ice on all 4 corners of your car. So keep that in mind. Don't worry about those people on the racetrack on the warm-up lap or lap 1 acting like they're in a full-on race. Just let them pass. Let them drive like that. If they want that risk factor, if that's what they do, you can't stop. Finally, the last thing you need to make sure is know your limits. I know a lot of people who just keep upgrading cars and they don't get faster themselves, where they should be getting much faster with the next car, but they get the same exact lap times. or they start blaming it on the components of the vehicle and they start upgrading their car. Little do they know that they're not even near the limits of their stock vehicle. When you go on the racetrack, keep trying to encourage yourself to go further. Feel a vehicle out. Try to understand a car's habits and patterns when it comes to rotating into a corner or getting on power. Some cars you need to be more gentle. Some cars you need to be more aggressive to dial in when it comes to driving fast. Know your limits. Understand the car, and as long as you don't go on track and try to prove something like you're better than somebody else and there's no way that person should be faster than you, understanding your skill sets and what you can do is the safest mindset to have, and with that mindset you'll continue to keep getting better. It's all about incremental jumps. Just keep that in mind. Try to get faster, but in a safe way where you're always maintaining confidence. If you don't have confidence, driving on track can be unsafe. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I actually have a racing license, and I started out with Formula cars. I did Miatas, those are fun, but I've really worked my way up from the starting point vehicles to, all the way up to the Chevy Mustangs, to mid-engine cars with the Corvette, and then to a McLaren supercar. So I'm still learning. And as long as you understand how life, you're always learning and getting better, then you will do good. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. It really help me out. Also subscribe for much more great content coming out your way. I'll see all of you in the next episode.